to it. This webinar is pretty much to give you an understanding of what we do as a company within property, what deal sourcing is, what rent to rent is, and pretty much how we help people get started in property. Okay, so we're gonna introduce what the topics are. Give you a few examples of deals we've done, and examples of deals that you can do yourself, and then we'll get into a bit more about the training and how we actually work as a company. All right, so start it off. Viden Property was founded by myself, Clinton, and myself, Carlton, and we're twin brothers. We're born and raised in North London, and we started off by pretty much sourcing deals, usually below market value deals in London, and selling them onto a fee for an investor. So we leveraged the skills we learned from selling deals and analyzing the market to build our own portfolio and also to get started in property really full time. So, our business has grown over the years, and I say about 4 years ago now, we started running workshops and training people on how they can find and analyze their own deals. And we pretty much built a team or community of people that are doing deals together, selling deals, taking on deals. And, so far we're proud of what we've been able to accomplish. So what is deal sourcing? That's a question that a lot of people have. They've never heard of it before. So deal sourcing is the art of finding, analyzing, and negotiating properties for yourself to keep or to sell them on to investors for a fee. So that's the reason why I like deal sourcing and why I feel like it's so powerful for people that are advanced in property and people that are just starting out. Because if you're advanced, you can learn how to build your portfolio so you don't need to sell and use deal sources. And if you're starting out, you can use the money that you get from deal sourcing to fund your own deals. And the knowledge you get of, networking with investors and selling deals to actually get a better understanding of what you're doing and more confidence with what you're doing. So the three top deals to sell would be a buy-to-let, a rent-to-rent, or a renovation or conversion deal. So what that means is a buy-to-let, where you buy a property and rent it out long-term. Rent-to-rent is where you rent the property and rent out for a profit. And renovation, conversion is where you add value to a property in some way. So you get a damaged property, fix it up, and you add value to it. So investors will be happy to buy all three of those types of deals. And, we pretty much show you how to go by. And I'll give you an example. So when it comes to investment strategies, again, what is rent to rent? Rent to rent is where you provide the landlord or landlady with a guaranteed rent, and in return, they will allow you to profit from that property. So how you profit determines what strategy you pick. You can profit by renting the property out room by room and do what we call rent to HMO, or you can profit by renting that property out night by night on Airbnb, for example. And that's what we call R2SA or rent to service accommodation. So again, buy to let is a property where you buy it and you rent it out for a long-term basis. So you benefit from the rent and the property rising in value. And BRRR, that is the acronym for buying the property that's usually run down or has scope for you to add value, refurbishing it or adding that value, hiring builders, getting people to sort the property out, renting it out, whether that's room by room or as a long-term let or as a service accommodation, which is more common nowadays. Definitely. And refinancing it. So meaning you get a new loan on the property, you may have bought it by borrowing money, using what we call a bridge loan. If you haven't heard of bridge loan before, I'd urge you to write that down and do some research on it. But refinance is where you go and get a new mortgage based on its new valuation because you've added value to it. And last but not least, what is a joint venture agreement? So the reason why I included this in this presentation is because I feel like joint ventures is the most underrated part of property when it comes to beginners. Because a lot of beginners, they see it as I can do what my money allows me to do. So I can only do in property how much with how much I can only accomplish what I need to accomplish in property with how far my bank account will allow me to stretch to. But joint ventures is a deal between multiple parties to work together and combine resources to develop a real estate project. So I know some of you, it's just like, okay, common sense. Yeah, you can work with other people on deals, but there'll be some people that wouldn't be aware that that's a possibility. So I want you to understand that deal sourcing is getting a deal and an investor Doing a joint venture is getting a deal and an investor. The only difference with the joint venture is you actually be involved in the profit of the deal and obtaining the deal or acquiring it. So, if you're someone that's looking to get started in property but don't quite have the money, I would definitely say, don't jump into it, but, be open-minded when it comes to working with other people that they do have the money to get deals. And just understand that in most cases, the deal itself is more valuable than the money. So it might sound far-fetched when you're first starting, but as you learn more about property and get into it more, you'll see what I'm saying is true. So let's give it a few examples. So when I say buy to let or a buy to let deal, what does that look like? So how much did it cost? What's the rental? What's the yield? What's going on? So when I say yield, what that means is yield is the annual rental income expressed as a percentage of the total property value. So the reason why I mention this is because that's pretty much the most important number. I'll say the most important number in buy to let. So what that means is if you've got a property that's worth or selling for £100,000 and it brings in an income of £500 per month or £6,000 per year, because £6,000 is 6% of £100,000, the yield is 6%. Okay. So if that property bought in £10,000 per year, the yield would be 10%. If you bought in £2,000 per year, the yield would be 2%. So it's just a quick way to find out what what type of return you'll get on a buy-to-let investment and whether or not it's worth it. So I can go into a lot more detail about this, and I've made a video on it. You can find it on our Instagram at Viden Property. But definitely just understand that yield is the most important figure. And if you don't understand it, definitely research it as much as you can. So an example of a buy-to-let deal in Newcastle. So this is the type of deal that an investor will typically buy off us. So you can see £98,000 purchase price, much cheaper than London. I wish prices in London were still like this, but hey, what can we do? £800 rent, giving a yield of 9.8%, and a sourcing fee of £3,000. So for an investor, they're happy because the yield is quite high. If you wanted a benchmark of what a good yield is, I'll say in this market is 7.5% at a minimum. So to get a 9.8% yield is really good. And that's one of the reasons why an investor will be happy to pay a £3,000 sourcing fee for this type of deal. Another thing to add is if you're someone that's looking to get started in property but don't quite have the money to go and buy a deal like this, you may be able to benefit from finding deals like this and selling them on to investors and charging that sourcing fee that you can see there. So you can see that it's worth it in both instances. So again, that's only one reason why an investor would be willing to pay us £3,000 to find a deal for them, because the other is we actually go and do the research for them. So, if I said to anyone here, I'm assuming that most of you are from London, what's the property market like in Newcastle? It's very likely you wouldn't have much of an idea. So we do the research for you. We break down the individual area. So in this case, NE6. We show you what the population is, how many households are there, whether or not the population is increasing. We show you what the growth or, the capital appreciation's been like over the past few years, past 5 years, give you a chart, give you the information on that. And again, just because it's grown in the past, it doesn't mean it's going to grow in the future. But because we're coming off such a hot market, it is a good sign. Show you what the demand is like, how many sales per month, how many property sales are going through each month, so you can get an idea of what the market's like. And we also give you an idea of what the rental market's like, because you always want to be investing for buy-to-lets in landlords markets where there's more tenants available in the market than there are properties available. So there's more demand than there is supply. That's where you want to be buying. So of course, if you understand all these things and you know how to go research it, by all means, if you've got the time, go and find the properties yourself. But if you don't have the time, that's where you would employ deal sources like us or people that come to our training to go and find the deals for you. And if you're someone that's got some cash that you want to invest and you want to learn how to do it yourself, this is something that we provide. And, we get a lot of customers or clients that will come to us to learn exactly how to do this. We also help people with getting good solicitors to put through the transactions, getting surveyors done. We use viewing agents as well to view properties, so you don't have to drive 5 hours to Newcastle. and of course getting the mortgage put through. We have a really good mortgage broker that we work with. We refer a lot of our clients to him. Exactly. So you get everything. So as if you, all you have to do is say, I want to invest in property or into a buy to let, and I've got the money, and we'll handle everything else. Because I feel like a lot of people, the reason why they stick to London and areas that they know is because they're scared and they don't know about the other areas. So with us, we use software to make it so we understand what the other areas are like based on the numbers, based on everything Clint just said. So again, one of the last things that we go through is the crime rate. Because of course, if you're investing 5 hours away from your house, the least you can do is check what the police say about the area without having to hear what the ground says, you know? So the next is...
Don't let that last part go over your head.
Yeah.
Because it's very important. Because a lot of areas, yeah, they'll have areas that have properties, 3 beds for 40 grand. And there's some areas where you can actually get 3 beds for 40 grand in a decent area. But a lot of them, it's because the crime rate is extremely high and the quality of tenants is poor. So you do this check to make sure that you're not buying in an area where there's loads of people walking around, you know?
Yeah. So service accommodation. So raise your hands if you can hear me clearly. If you can't, put in the Q&A. I just want to confirm that everyone can hear me clearly. Okay, good, yeah. All right, so service accommodation. So SA, whenever you hear anyone say Airbnb or SA, this is what they're referring to. Yeah. So this is an example of a rent to service accommodation deal.
Sorry if you know about all these things already. We're speaking to you as if you don't know anything.
Yeah, so this is beginner friendly. So if you haven't got a clue, we're showing you. And if you do know and you're aware, that's fine. You'll benefit more from the later part of this presentation. So this is a rent to service accommodation deal in North London. So this is a typical deal that we'll have. I know some of you are on our list already and you're receiving these deals. And if you're not, then you need to message me and, get on that list so you can start receiving these deals.
Yeah, we get a lot of deals. We get more deals than we put out, if that makes sense. We don't really advertise on social media as much as we should. We send it out to people directly.
Yeah, so if you want to get on that WhatsApp list, make sure you message me. Just message us at Viden Property. Add me to the rent to rent list and I'll keep updated on the deals that you can see here. So you can see on there, the rent is £3,000 and I believe this was a 3 or 4 bedroom property. I cannot remember off the top of my head. But the average daily rate was £285 per night and it gives the occupancy rate of 75%. And a deal like this will charge a £3,000 sourcing fee. So again, the reason why someone will pay us this is because to find a landlord that's willing to give you their property, allow you to go and put an Airbnb and make a profit from it, I wouldn't say it's a very rare scenario, but I'll say about 2 out of 10 landlords would be interested in a deal like that. So it's going to take some effort to go and find deals like this. And because they're profitable, that's the reason why people will pay us for it. But that's not the only reason, because if you're someone that's a beginner and just getting started, and you're not really sure how to run the numbers, and you're not sure what's a good deal, what's a bad deal, then we do the research for you.
Yeah. So I speak to a lot of people that don't do this math and they'll guess. So they'll invest into a service accommodation just because they have permission from the landlord, but they don't know what the numbers are. And they guess, oh, I might get 60% or 70%. But it's really good to do the numbers and it's based on the comparables in the area.
Exactly. So this is the software that we use. If you do want to have access to the software, definitely reach out to me as well. And it breaks down how much we're going to get on average per day from the property, what the occupancy rate is. So how many nights out the month are we going to be able to actually put this property and have a guest? And based on these numbers, it's going to tell us whether or not the deal's profitable. So as part of the workshop and the training, we give you access to all the software and the calculators that we use. But for our investors, we will show them. So we'll show you this is what you can expect to make in revenue per month. So you can see in September, this will bring in 6.5K next year. And remember, you're only paying the landlord 3 grand. So there's a margin there. Shows you what the occupancy rate is going to look like over the next year.
And occupancy rate means days in the month that is rented out for.
How much is that monthly? How much is what monthly exactly? Are you referring to how much is the property going to bring in monthly? It varies month to month. So, some months you're going to see, some months the occupancy rate is going to be at 60%, some months 80, some months 85. You might get a long-term booking and have an occupancy rate of 100%. So the revenue and how much money it's going to produce monthly is going to vary month to month.
We got good deals. We got a really good deal at the moment in Southwest London. I've advertised it on our Instagram. But you have to be ready to take it on. So to take on a rent service accommodation, you're going to need to have your company set up. You're going to need the contracts that the landlord's going to sign to make rent to rent legally binding. And of course, you need the capital to pay the first month's rent, first month's deposit, and sourcing fees. And if it's furnished, happy days. If not, you need to furnish it as well.
Yeah. So again, average daily rate forecast, because again, this goes up and down as well, month to month. And again, this is based on the comparables. So it's not pulling these numbers out of thin air. It's checking what's happening on Airbnb with other units. So you can see what your competition is doing basically, and you're judging what the unit's going to do based on that. So I had a conversation earlier with one of you, and I mentioned exactly that. This is going to be based on what's happening nearby. You're never going to make a guess. You know, you're going to do some research and make an educated, informed decision. So next we've got BRRR. So when I say renovation projects that will go and sell on for a fee or that you can take or a joint venture with, which a lot of people love to do, this is what I'm talking about. You can see here the house is completely derelict, unlivable. So these are the type of properties that investors look at and say, yeah, I can make some money off this one. Of course, it's not just going to be a good deal because it's battered, but it's a good sign because, you know, imagine properties on this road go for 200K, yeah, in good condition. There's no chance the seller will be able to get that for this property. So that's where the opportunity lies. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit. It's basically a mash-up house, if I had to summarize it. Yeah, this house needs some work. So what the numbers look like on a house like this, or this house in particular, is the landlord was selling it for 140,000, just under that. The works was estimated to be 45,000, and the end value was 220. So once you refinance it, you're not going to get all your money back. You're going to get 165,000 back, and that's going to be able to repay you most of your capital or a large chunk of it and allow you to move on to another deal. So if you're interested in deals like this, again, get in touch because I have a deal available near Manchester and the numbers are pretty identical to this one. 130,000 purchase price, works around 50,000 and the end value between 220 and 240. So if you like these numbers here, get in touch because I've got another one. But this is an example of a BRRR deal. So when I say investors will happily pay a fee for these deals, I'm referring to this. And for a deal like this, you can charge anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 pounds, whatever you think is fair. So of course, you know, if you're going to hire someone, you're going to need to see some examples of their work. And this is an example of what the builder is capable of when converting properties like this into a HMO. So this is a very similar property, similar area. You can see the quality that it's done to. So I'm gonna skip it a bit. We haven't got all day, but you can see they do the refurb to a good standard. So of course, a property like this is going to be worth a lot more than the derelict one. And if I had to summarize it, that's where the opportunity lies, and that's the entire point. Sorry, that's the entire point of BRRR. Yeah, so the sourcing fee is different to the course fee. So what I'm referring to, just to be clear, there's two parts to our business. There's one where we provide training, we show you how to go about finding, analyzing, and provide you all the tools and the support you need to find and take on deals like this and the other ones I've given an example of. And that's our sourcing, that's our training that we'll get into later. But when I'm referring to the sourcing fee, if you're a client and you don't want to be trained by us, you just want a deal, the sourcing fee is what we'll charge for access to the opportunity. So I hope that makes sense. So next, deal sourcing. So if you decided that, you know, I like deal sourcing, I want to find these deals and sell them on for a fee, or I like to find these deals to take on for myself, this is how the model will look. So you're going to collect the criteria from the investor. So you're going to find out, you know, what do you need? Do you want a BRRR in London? You want a rent to rent in Manchester? Do you want to buy to let in Birmingham? What do you want? How much do you want to spend? So then you find a deal that matches that investor's criteria. You sign an agreement. So a lot of people think, okay, what if I find a deal for the investor and they just cut me out? So how you prevent that is you have an agreement between yourself and the investor that says, this is how my payment structures work. The investor's happy to pay me a fee, and if they don't pay me the fee and try and go around me, they're gonna have to pay me interest or have to pay me a penalty. So basically, a legal binding agreement. So at that point, you share all the details of the deal with the investor. You investor and the vendor agree terms. So that could be they agree on the rent and the terms of the length for the rent to rent deal, or they could be you agreeing on the price for a buy to let. So once the deal is signed and sold, you'll get your fee and everyone's happy. They've got their deal, you've got your fee, you move on to the next. So this is like a typical deal sourcing model. You find the deal, you get the criteria from the investor, you sign an agreement, you sell it to them, you get a fee. So where you get deals from is you get deals from agents. So property agents on Rightmove, Zoopla, you can get deals from there. You get deals from property sources like myself and yourself if you decided to get involved with it. You can also get deals direct to vendor, which means directly between yourself and the landlord or yourself and the seller. So go directly to the person that owns the opportunity, no one in the middle. So in my opinion, it's easier and it's better if you're direct on the deals because, with these deals, sometimes it can be Chinese whispers. People have different agendas in property or in certain deals, you never know. So to get the best price and the most reliable information, you want to be speaking directly with a decision maker. So if I'm going to sell rent to rent deal, I want to be speaking directly with the landlord that owns the property so I can negotiate the best deal for both parties. Or if I'm going to sell a property, I want to be speaking directly with the seller themselves. So how we do that, and the most effective way, in my opinion, to do that in the 21st century, in 2023, November, is by running ads. So some of you may have seen our ads before.
I think a few of them come from that.
Yeah, so it's effective. It's like magic to be able to sit in your house and have your ideal perfect customers, just message you and say, "Hey, I'm interested." Is amazing.
Put your hand up if you come from an ad, please.
Yeah, raise your hand if you came from an ad. There you go. So a couple of people. So you already know it works really well. So the same way that you're interested in property and you came onto this this webinar because you discovered one of our ads, is the same way that if you're looking for someone that wants to sell their property and you run an ad, they're going to reach out to you. It's the same thing. And the concept of it is very simple. So there's intricate parts to it when it comes to actually running the ad successfully. But if I had to summarize it, step point by point on how to do it, it will be you head over to whatever platform you decide to run an ad on. It could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, it could be TikTok, it could be YouTube, whatever. But you're gonna run what we call a lead generation campaign. So if you've never heard of that term before, I'll definitely suggest for you to write that down and do some research on it. Lead generation campaign. So you pretty much head over to in this case, Facebook, launch a campaign, make sure that the objective of the campaign is to get more leads. A lead, what that means is a potential customer. So you create the ad. So whatever you decide to put in there, it could be a video, which we like to use. It could be a picture. It could be a picture of the property. Get creative, What do you think the landlord or the person you're targeting would like to see?
We like creating ads that's not like ads. So I feel like you don't come from our recent ad, and that's not an ad. It's just us posting up one of our students that's taken on a buy to let. But then when people see it, because they don't feel like they're being sold to, they will engage, and that's the best way to get traction.
I agree with that. So get creative with it. So the next step 3 would be, who's going to see the ad? So adding a little disclaimer here. A few years ago on Facebook, you can just run an ad to anyone, it's fine. But then a lot of people kicked up a fuss, and it's kind of warranted because people were being excluded from job opportunities, housing opportunities, financial opportunities, and they were doing this because you can be so specific on Facebook who you're going to target. So you can say, I only want to target people between the ages of 25 to 30 years old that live in this area that are interested in this type of things. So to make it more fair and give people access to opportunities, they've added what we call special ad categories. So if you're going to run a house ad in the property sector, you need to be under the housing special ad category. And what that does is it makes it so you have to have a broad age range and gender range. So the benefit is you can select the interest, but they need to be 18 to 65, male and female. You can't exclude like that. But you can say, people within this age bracket or from these genders that are interested in property, I'd like to see this ad. And the same way that a lot of people say, oh, your phone listens to you, all of these things, this is just you telling Facebook, show this ad to people that are interested in property, and Facebook will do its thing where with the cookies or whatever and show it to the relevant people. So I hope that makes sense. So the fourth one will be deciding how long the ad's going to be, how much you're going to spend on it, and you're going to decide where it's placed. So is it going to be on Instagram or Facebook? Is it going to be in the Messenger? Is it going to be on the feed? Is it going to be on the story? And afterwards, what it's going to do is it's going to show this little campaign to people with, basically asking for their name, number, investment criteria, or whatever questions you want to ask the lead. And you can see in your CRM, it just goes, CRM means your customer relationship manager. So that's where all your customers' contacts are going to be kept. And you can see here, you pretty much get it on autopilot. You launch a campaign and then Facebook is just constantly bringing you customers. So I'm not able to show you this in the short presentation that we've got here, but I just want you to know that this is one of the most effective ways to get these types of deals that I'm referring to or to get investors. And if you do take part in our workshop, I'll be happy to help you set up one of these campaigns because we are killing it. So give an example of what the results of a campaign like this looks like. Is we ran a campaign like this earlier on this year. I think it was a couple months ago now. We spent £1,250 on this lead generation campaign, and it returned us 319 leads. So that means 319 people saw this campaign or one of our ads, and they decided to give us their name, email, number, and said, hey, I'm interested. So if you do the math on it, yeah, just think about it for a second. Each customer or potential customer cost us just under £4. So you've seen the examples of the deals and how much we charge in fees, how much the deals are worth. So imagine you're going to sell a deal for £3,000, but it costs you £4 to get that deal. Does it make sense? So who wouldn't pay £4 for a potential customer that can make them £3,000? If you would pay for that, please raise your hand. You pay £4 for a potential customer that'll get you £3,000.
No-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. So this is the reason why we're constantly running ads, because the order value of what we're selling is worth a fair amount. And to get the customers, it's not, what I'm saying here is common knowledge to some, but it's not widespread knowledge for everyone. So we're able to still benefit a lot from these ads. And at the end of the day, these audiences have millions of people in them. So as long as you have an abundance mindset with it, you can't really go wrong. You can't lose. So remember, launching campaigns this way is going to help you in a few ways. It's going to help you find investors that will buy the deals. Help you find investors that you can joint venture with, like I mentioned earlier. It can help you find buyers for the properties that you're selling or the rent-to-rents you're selling. It can help you find landlords for your rent-to-rent deals, and it can help you find landlords for your buy-to-lets, BRRRs, whatever you want. So however you structure the ad is going to get you customers for it. So it's the most powerful tool, and I feel like it's very underrated, especially in property. So when we first started, so just to be clear, yeah, someone asked, when you first started, was it harder to get these leads? So the campaign that I just showed you where it was paying £4 per lead, that was on our TikTok. And if you go over to Viden Properties TikTok, it's quite new. We've only got about 600 followers on there. So just understand, we got those followers from running these ads, so people were following us, but we was new. We've only got about...
We're still new in there.
Yeah, we had about maybe 6 or 7 videos on the platform at the time. So fair enough, we've got a decent following on Snapchat and Instagram, but on TikTok we're new and the ads still work.
And people had no clue who we were. All they cared about is the quality of the content that was putting out. The quality of the content was still good, but they had no clue who our company was. So you just have to make sure that your branding's on point. That's one thing that we're big on, is making sure everything's clean, everything looks nice, so that way it's inviting. Because I only personally am a consumer of brands that have clean branding. If I see a brand that's all over the place, whether it's clothing, whether it's cars, whether it's food, I wouldn't be interested. So I pride my business in the same way. So I would recommend you do the same.
Well, exactly. So yeah, so don't let being new stop you doing it, because at the end of the day, everyone's got to start somewhere. We started somewhere. We started off with 0 followers.
Yeah,
Zero.
We started with 0 everything.
There you go.
Just went crazy.
Literally. So investors. So again,
So even with going through investors, when we first started, we got our investors in person through referrals on our own network and going to property networking events. And as we start to get a bit more into the industry, we learned we've been doing it for about 6, 7 years now. We got as we got into the property industry, we learned that we can get investors online, and that's around 2019, 2018 is when we started to really go online, and then we started utilizing Facebook groups, Instagram. But Facebook groups in particular is a really good way of getting investors um, out the gate. Because if you don't go in there now and you type in property networking or rent to rent or buy to let, whatever you're interested in, you'll see loads of different groups that come up that you can go in there and network with people, whether it's joint ventures or whether you're looking to sell a deal to an investor that's in there, or whether you're just looking to learn different things about what people are doing in property. You can see types of groups that's on the left. I'm not vouching for any of them, but there's groups that's there.
none of them. We're not vouching for any of them. So don't go to them and think, oh, but then property recommended. This is just us typing in property and screenshotting the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see examples of what people do. I call this what Daniel Jackson said a light package, which is basically the rough information. And if you've not been following us for a while, you see us sometimes put light packages up. But yeah, WhatsApp groups as well. So WhatsApp groups is really good. It's not as easy to join WhatsApp groups as you can imagine. Facebook, you just go in there now. With WhatsApp, you have to get invited or know somebody that's in the group. So I join a lot of WhatsApp groups through networking. So I use business WhatsApp, and then I'm in tons of groups, as you can see. And I then network with people, and I would like package up deals, whether it's buy to lets, buy refurbished finance deals, rent to rent, and then I'll put the like package into all the groups. And then whoever's interested in there will message me. They'll be like, "Hey, I'm interested in that deal you put in the group. How do I learn more?" And then at that point, I contract them and go through the process of selling the deal to them.
Exactly. So WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups are powerful ways you can use to get investors, and they're free. So not everyone's got money to spend on ads or want to spend money on ads. These are ways that you can put some effort in and get some investors off the ground.
And we do both now. So it's not like we just do ads now. It's like, oh, it's done. I'm literally about to really start going crazy with the, I'll call it guerrilla marketing in a sense where you're getting out there, meeting people in their face, networking events, WhatsApp, doing all of the above. Because I feel like why not do everything in your power? But networking events is our foundation. That's where we started. We will go out there with business, suited and booted, um, with our business cards, look people in the eyes and meet them in person. And we get a lot of deals done that way. And that's how we first started. But of course, scaling through ads is like the end goal. And obviously, at the point we're at now, is we're just tightening our systems for our business, so we can go really crazy with the amount we spend in ads. So as the leads come through, we can handle and deal with it to a good standard.
Yeah. So for property networking events, it's simple as Googling property networking events. So I know some of you may be interested, may know about this already, and just know, yeah, Google property networking events, common sense. But for people that are new to it, just understand that, especially for those of you that live in London, there's pretty much a networking event every day or every other day. So if you're really passionate about your business and passionate about property and you want to get around more people, it's no more complicated than doing that. So there's so much other ways that we can get into that, we, of course, we get into in the training program. But I hope you're not taking a gem or two from what we said here.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the benefit from coming to our training, and the reason why a lot of people do that are interested in deal sourcing or interested in property in general, is the fact that they can co-source with us. So rather than you having to go out there and by saying, I still suggest to go out there and build your own list, but you can benefit from ours. So one of the reasons why we started the training in the first place was to work with more sources that knew what they were doing. So when you co-source with us, well, what that means is you get the deal, you sell it to our investors, we split the fee, or you get our deal, you sell it to an investor, split the fee, whatever you do it. But the point is, we're going to work together. So if you're interested in deal sourcing and would be interested in selling your deals that you find to our investors, raise your hand, please. Yes, good to hear. So a couple people raise their hand. So just understand that you can go out and get your own investors, or you can work with us or people like us and leverage our investors.
A lot of the deals we sell are through our students. They get a lot of deals and we just get them in solo.
Yeah. So it makes it easier. It makes everything easier to manage. The plan of wanting to work with more competent sources is to work like a charm. And that's the reason why we have a constant flow of deals coming available. So it benefits us because we've got stock for our clients. That's an ever-growing list because we're always running these ads. And it works for them because they're new, they're not as credible, they haven't got investors, but they can still sell the deals and build their company from scratch. So you no need to pay to set your company up and for the compliance. You're able to leverage our network. and you can able to get started as soon as you finish the training. So some people always ask me, how much does it cost to get started with this? Because of cold sourcing and the fact that you can work with other people, it's actually free. It doesn't cost money to start with deal sourcing. You can literally just put the effort in and start selling deals. So if you knew what you was doing and you had an opportunity for rent to rent, a good buy to let, or good BRRR, you can not come to our training or anything and work with us to sell the deal. So of course, some people will be in that position, and those people we work with. But if you're someone that doesn't know how to get these deals and how to analyze them and how to package them and present them to investors, that's why as soon as you finish the training, you'll be able to work with us straight away. And I hope that makes sense. So again, some people they learn from hearing people say something to them, or in a class, or in a webinar like this, and some people learn from doing and actually getting it done. So I feel like it's a different energy when you sell your first deal and just realize, because some of you may be like, yeah, 3K per deal, that's fine, that's not too much, that's cool. But some people it's like 3K per deal.
Some people never seen that before.
Do you get what I mean? At one time, I've been working for a month or two. So when you actually put yourself in a position where you actually sell a deal and you see that money in your bank account, no one can tell you nothing after that. You're just gonna, if you've got any sense, keep working on it, keep expanding. And last but not least, your network is your net worth. So, that's a cliche saying, but you've always heard it. The people that you surround yourself with, you're going to be a reflection of them. And I'm a big believer in your network is your net worth. And that's why I like property and being around affluent people and people that have a good head on their shoulders. But also, have you ever heard of the saying, solve problems for rich people, they pay better? You can think of deal sourcing as doing exactly that. So there are creative deal sourcing strategies, and I did have a lot more to show here, but I did want to keep it light and beginner friendly, so I did bring it down a little bit. So I can give you one example of a rent to supported living deal. So imagine you've got a 4-bedroom house in Birmingham, 2 bathrooms, and the landlord wants £2,000 in rent. It doesn't really work for SA because the rent is quite a lot, and Birmingham you can probably get between 150 to 250 per night, depending on the property. So that's most of them. So there's not too much margin in there. But the point is, a deal like this that doesn't quite work for that would work for what we call supported living. So if you haven't heard of supported living before, if I had to summarize it, it's where companies will house vulnerable people, whether they have behavioral problems, whether they have mental disability, autism, things of that nature. They'll pretty much be supported in these houses. So there's loads of companies out there that have these contracts to look after these individuals, and they just need access to properties that will let them run the business there. So this is where rent to rent or rent to support living comes into it. So we get paid a £3,000 fee for selling these types of deals. So yes, I mentioned a few of the main ways to sell deals before, but there's so much more to it. And if we had more time, I'll go into it now. But do reach out and we can get into more detail on the creative deals that you can do as well. So raise the hands before I move forward. Has anyone heard of rent to supported living before? Okay, so that's good. So again, once you learn how to find the deals, you can start selling deals to those types of people as well. And if you are interested in that business model, which I don't blame you because it's very lucrative, I would suggest to learn how to go and find the deals for yourself as well, because you will become a powerful asset to your business in that sense. So why is deal sourcing recession proof? Someone always wants to sell, someone always wants to buy, no matter what, whether it's World War III, whether it's COVID, whether it's lockdown, there's always someone that wants to buy and someone that wants to sell. The digital ads always allow us to be in front of either the buyer or the seller. So no matter what's happening, we can always make money in property. The business model is dynamic. As I said, you can be selling. I suggest for you to focus on one deal at a time. But if you decided to start off selling rent to rents and find an opportunity to start selling buy to lets or developments, by all means. The disadvantages of deal sourcing, though, is working with unserious investors, because there's nothing more annoying than having good stock and good relationships and having people just wasting your time. Working with inexperienced sources. So some sources are just liars, money grabbing, scammers. People are not good people. And, if you unfortunately bump into them and do business, it's really annoying. Good deals falling through. So, of course, no one likes the deals falling through, but it is a disadvantage because some people can be put off the idea by it. It happens. With me, I say don't count the money until it's in the bank, but it's a disadvantage. The income isn't guaranteed. So I see that as an advantage, but it is a disadvantage because if you're a lazy person or someone that doesn't want to put the extra effort in, you know, your bank account's going to be a reflection of that lack of effort. But at the same time, if you're a hardworking person, you get to decide your own hours. So you can make it work around your 9 to 5 or your carer schedule, or if you've got kids, you can make it work around that. And again, your effort determines your income. So if you're a person that likes to put in effort and you're serious about what you do, you work hard, you work smart, you know, you got your bank account's gonna be a reflection of that. So there's a lot of people, I don't knock any 9 to 5 whatsoever. Whatever you do to put money on your table, respect, as long as you're doing something. But at the same time, some people they want to get out of the 9 to 5 because they're hardworking and they don't like the fact that their income's capped. So having your own company in general, especially with deal sourcing, it allows your effort to determine your income, which is a big benefit for a lot of people. Also, what I said earlier about your network's your net worth, you know, with property and deal sourcing in particular, you're building a network of business partners you can work with forever. So we didn't get to go into a whole biography of what we've done, but you know, previously we had a recruitment company, and the contacts and the people we had there, it's all still all love, of course, but at the same time, that's a niche sector. Property, that's everyone's business. We've got clients that are software engineers, doctors, work in aerospace, work in the music industry, work in sports, football players, you know, you name it, we've got them as a client. And the reason for that is because property is everyone's business. So again, you can replace a typical income with only a couple deals per month. So if you're able to just successfully sell one deal a month, that can replace most people's income. So if you're able to consistently sell two, you're laughing. You can earn where you learn. So if you're serious about property and you want to get involved, make some money, it's a good option for you. If you're someone that's looking for deals, you know, consider deal sourcing, because rather than having that great opportunity that you're like, my funds just can't stretch far enough to grab this deal, but it's really good. Let me just leave it. You can actually take that deal and make some money from it. Whether that's you selling it yourself or contacting someone like ourselves and selling it to one of our investors and getting a cut. And you know, a clear advantage of it is you're able to invest in properties without using your own money, and it's a skill that can be applied anywhere in the world. So you know, I don't want to go off on one, but if I decided to go and move to Jamaica now and start selling properties, I can. I think I have to get a real estate license out there, but all the skills I learned as far as running ads, negotiating deals, speaking with investors, those are all transferable. And at the same time, if I decided to live in another country and still run Viden property as it is in the UK, there'll be nothing stopping me doing that. So it's something that you can do anywhere in the world. So how you decide the right strategy for yourself is you've got to think about how patient you are. So buy-to-let deals take longer to receive the fee than rent-to-rent deals. Rent-to-rent, you pretty much get it straight away. You also have to think about how much time you have in your hands, because you know we get most of our rent-to-rent deals through agents, and you need to be calling them between 9 to 5 if you're not running ads. So you need to think, do I have the time to do that? So fair enough, you can still make it work. You might have to choose a strategy that allows you to be flexible with it, but again, that does impact your decision making with it. You also have to think about what type of investors you'd be happy communicating with on a regular basis. So at the same time, if you're a person that speaks a certain way or likes to live a life a certain way, you may prefer to work with investors that will be more similar or relate more to yourself. And if you also have to think about how much you plan on earning for each deal. So some deals you make 3,000, some deals 5,000, some deals you make 5 figures. And I'm not going into a lot of detail on that here, but you know, the sky's the limit with how much detail or how much money you can make on these deals. So instead of me talking, if you learned something today, please raise your hand. Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, that's good to hear. You learned something today. That's good to hear.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate you coming. It's not finished yet, by the way. I just wanted to know, I've explained to you a bit of summary on what type of deals you can get into, how deal sourcing works. Would it be okay, or raise your hand if it would be okay for me to explain what our paid training includes? Yeah. Okay, cool. We'll get into it. Appreciate you, lot. So, our property sourcing accelerator program. So we include quite a lot into this program. Before I get into it, I'm just going to summarize it by saying we show you how to find the types of deals. Excuse me. We show you how to find and analyze the deals. We provide you all the resources you need to take them on or to sell them. And we provide you all the support you need in the form of our support and the community to actually execute the deals and have the confidence to do it. That's me summarizing what we offer. But how it looks like in more detail is it's a 2-day workshop in our office in Enfield, where we go into how to go about finding, analyzing these deals and how to do everything. You get access to the 16-hour online property training course. So it's literally a 2-day workshop in course form, so you can watch it, you know, in your own leisure, in your own speed, at your own time. We get 1 year's ongoing mentorship, where we go into exactly how to go about executing these deals, helping you with your business plan, action plan, and the reason why everyone has keys on my Instagram. You get a 60-file resource pack with all the calculators, all the scripts, all the templates, and all the files that you need. So, of course, what makes rent to rent legal is a contract you have between yourself and the landlord. So you don't get cut out of deals. We mentioned the sourcing fee agreement. So all of these types of agreements we give to you. And you also get access to the Viden property community that has mortgage brokers, bridging loan brokers, solicitors, accountants, graphic designers, pretty much everyone you'll need for your business. And also, on top of that, we're accredited now, so you do get a CPD certificate, letting people know that you've done advanced training, that you can put on your CV, or let, people know that you've done actually advanced property training. And that shows you that CPD has come out, assessed our program, and deemed it to be credible. And, that's the reason why we get these great results. So what do we cover? So we show you how to find and analyze rent-to-rents, buy-to-lets, renovations, how to get investors, how to format your business, how to do the branding and the compliance so you do everything legal and above board. We'll show you how to do, how to run the numbers on the deals, how to manage them, how to get management companies, how to negotiate the deals with landlords and agents, how to assess the deal, how do you do the breakdown in the area to see if it's worth it or not, how to find renovations, how to select builders, how to run the numbers on whether it's worth it or not, how to find HMOs, how to get investors, how to build rapport, what information to collect from them, what questions to ask, how much to sell the deals, how to sort your social media out.
We give you everything. We tell you everything. We show you everything. There's nothing that you don't need to know. We provide you with things that you don't even know that you need. We teach things that you didn't even know you need to know. And we give you access to the people that you need to start and grow a business. Cut a long story short.
Yeah, so if we used to start again, everything we'll need to be able to execute these deals, we hand it to you on the plate. That's what you get.
I wish we got this blueprint once we started. It would have made things so much easier. We would have been way further ahead. Of course, we have to do the hard craft to figure it out. So essentially, we're fast tracking you.
Yeah. So some people they look down on training. Me personally, I see it as if someone's providing a service of value and it's gonna bring you closer to your goal, it's worth it as long as the math makes sense. But just see it as you're gonna invest into your journey, whether you like it or not. You're either gonna invest your time like we did and you go through the school of hard knocks to figure out, or you're gonna pay someone and have them fast track you, and get into it straight away. And that's why we call it the Property Sourcing Accelerator Program. So on top of that, you get calculators. So the buy to let calculator, so you can break down the numbers on these deals. The rent to HMO calculator, the service accommodation calculator.
So it tells you what the ROI is. So it tells you what the return is. So then you know whether it's good or bad.
Exactly. So you get all the calculators you need. So if you've got that renovation project and you want to know whether you should buy it, buy it, renovate it, rent it and refinance it, or whether to sell it on for a profit, you get access to all of that. And on top of that, you get access to the Viden property community. So in there, you've got, this is a deal that Ede took on recently, I believe it was Liverpool. But to make a long story short, there's people in there doing deals all the time. And hopefully, those of you in here, that'll be one of you. And again, we're credited with a CPD. So you're not only going to come to the workshop and learn everything you need to learn, you also get a certificate afterwards to show that you've, taken advanced training on. So it's called Continuing Professional Development. So let people know that you've done that. It's good. Action takers. So these are a few people that's come to our workshop. I wish if we literally wouldn't be able to put everyone that's done it. So there's loads of people in the group that you'll be able to network with and you can learn more about their journey. But I'll put George first because he started with us when he was 17. And this is one of the first workshops we did in 2019 or 2020. I can't remember which one now.
2019.
Yes. And this is our old office in Ponderzen. So he started with us when he was 17, 18. He went on to build his portfolio, rent-to-rent portfolio with rent-to-HMO deals to replace his income.
He's from Leeds, by the way. So he come all the way down from Leeds to London. So we respect him for that as well.
Exactly. I only recently found out that, once he actually got his business off the ground, he literally dropped out of uni. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know what he's
Speaking at an event, it's a company called the Kickback, and we brought him to talk as well. And then he said it. We looked at him like, wow.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. But respect to him because he set up his company door-to-door source. And now he's taking on renovation projects. I think he's on his second one now. And again, all of these tools all these things and strategies and these tools that you've learned and you will learn during the workshop, you can execute it. And he's the example of action taker. So to the right is when he took on his fourth rent to HMO deal and became financially independent. And his left is a recent deal that he just taken on in Wales. So I respect George a lot.
Mm.
Miles messaged me today actually about a deal that we're sending out. And he just, he always said from the start, he's going to smash it. He just needs the information. So as soon as he got the information, he was a bit busy with building his family and whatnot. But, within a few months, he took on his first rent-to-rent deal. And, now he's laughing. He's got a bunch of them and he's even got investors that's going to help him fund to take on more deals.
Family guys one.
So, all right, no worries. So next one, Shaniqua. So Shaniqua came to us with the goal of getting into rent HMO. She ended up taking the rent HMO on in Bedford. So she got a breakdown. She got a 6-bedroom house that she's only renting out for £1,500. And after everything, the bills and whatnot, she's bringing in about £1,000 per month profit. So rent to HMO is when you rent the property out and rent it out room by room. And again, we show you how to find these types of deals. And Shanika was taught that, and she went and smashed it. Engels, so he's a perfect example of someone that's worked with us on the deal. So that co-sourcing, the supported living deal that we mentioned before, he's the one that found it. So once we sold it to one of our investors, we charged them a fee and we split the fee with Engels. And Alicia is what I would call she initially started off as a skeptic. So she was someone that was like, I like property, I want to get involved, I'm not really sure how to go about it. Long story short, she came to our program and now she's on her fourth deal. So she's taking on rent to HMOs that we sourced for her, hence the picture on the left. She's taking on rent to service accommodations, buy to lets, and she's doing her thing. And Nicole, bless her, she came to our workshop, I believe last year, and she took on a flip with her and her family. She bought it for 70K, refurbed it with about 20, and she's end value was 140, but she actually sold it for 150. So her and her family all got hands on with it. And again, how we show you how to go and find these deals and how to run the numbers. She took advantage of the information, and again, this is why she's an action taker. So again, it's an in-person workshop. It's a 2-day workshop. Small class, not luck. There's loads of people inside there, very intimate, and it gives you a chance to make sure everyone learns and gets the information that you need. And it'll be great to see any of you out there. So recently we did win an award. So this is like a shameless plug. Excuse me. So we won the Business Excellence Award at the Charles Gordon Trust, the Lion's Heart Award, and you can see it there in the middle. I'm very proud of it. But I just put this there to show you that we come from humble beginnings. I will never believe in it. I would have never thought in a million years that we'll be on a stage accepting an award for business. Not to say that we're not credible, we're not hardworking, but you just think, yeah, them, not me. But the second you start working your business and have a vision and you work hard at it every single day, you get recognized for it. So anyone here, just like the people that I've just shown you, there's no difference between them and yourselves. So if you're someone that wants to get started and feel that we can help you, reach out. And if not, that's fine. Hopefully you learned something in the past hour. So is there anything you want to close up?
No, what I would say is definitely take advantage of the opportunity we're presenting with if you're interested. Again, we got space available on the 25th and 26th of November. That's a Saturday and Sunday. The training program starts at 9:15, finished at 5 p.m. We only have a couple of spaces left. And yeah, so we're going to be changing things going to the new year. There's a lot of value we're giving. We won this award probably 2 months ago now, and our courses got better. The communities get stronger, better. Our students are becoming more successful. So naturally, our value is increasing. So the price is going to increase going into the new year. So if you want to take it for affordable-ish, I don't know your situation, but affordable-ish price before it goes up, I would recommend taking advantage of it now.
All right then. So before we leave it, wrap it up, does anyone have any questions at all? You've got the Q&A there. If you have any questions, fire them at us now while we're still here. Give it a second. Okay. Cool, great. So what I'll say then, I've got my number in the chat. If you're interested in having a call, scheduling a call, feel free to let me know. We can schedule a call for tomorrow or later on in the week. And appreciate all of your time.
But if you want to talk to us right now as well, you can go on Viden Property Instagram and drop us a message, right?
Right then.
Thank you
Well,
for coming.
appreciate you all. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye.